It's shameful. I graduated 2 years ago, saved nothing, and am tens of thousands in debt. I was scammed by an agent, fired after 3 days, and lost money to a pyramid scheme.
This is my 8th month of unemployment. I've scoured every job platform and still can't find work. No interview scheduled for tomorrow.
This is the scene of a furniture factory closure in Guangzhou.
Pieces of fabric were still being sewn.
Apple is moving iPhone production to India. Samsung closed its last phone factory in China.
China is engulfed in chaos. The tariff war between the US and China, which began in 2018, has now plunged the country into an unprecedented social storm. In 2025, the US imposed tariffs as high as 245% on Chinese imports, while China retaliated with 125% tariffs on American goods. According to Goldman Sachs, these tariff measures could affect 20 million jobs, equivalent to 3% of China's workforce. But numbers don't tell the full story. Strikes and protests are erupting everywhere, from major cities to small towns, showing that public discontent has reached a boiling point. Let's go to Wuzhun, Xiang City, Jiangsu Province, where workers at Xundi Optoelectronics went on strike en masse starting April 28, 2025. The reason? The company hasn't paid their wages since January. Xundi Optoelectronics, a lighting component manufacturer founded in 2000, is currently a defendant in a lawsuit over unpaid debts totaling 16.9 million yuan. The workers here could no longer endure. One worker, exasperated, shared over the phone with foreign media.
Over 1,000 of us protested. We haven't been paid for half a year. The boss owes so much. This factory should have shut down.
On April 29th, workers continued protesting outside the Wuzhun town government office, but instead of resolving the issue, authorities cracked down hard. Another worker angrily said,
City and town governments did nothing. They blocked us and arrested over 10 people. We committed no crimes. Demanding our money is our right.
Police showed up, but notably, only traffic police and auxiliary officers were deployed, with some personnel even hired temporarily to maintain order. This shows that local authorities are scrambling to handle the wave of unrest. One worker recounted,
They stopped us and didn't let us eat.
But Xundi is not an isolated case. In Suzhou, workers at Shangda Electronics also went on strike due to unpaid wages since the start of 2025 and unremitted social insurance since June to 2023. Shangda Electronics, a leading company in flexible printed circuits FPC, has production facilities in Shenzhen, Guangdong, Hangzhou, Hubei, and Suzhou, Jiangsu. But their promises of timely wage payments have never been fulfilled. A worker at the Hubei facility has been on strike since September 26, 2024, and still has no resolution. The story continues in Chongqing, where construction workers on the 2077 Cyber City project gathered for 2 consecutive days, April 26th to 27th, at a police station to demand their wages. One construction worker, frustrated, said,
They're back again demanding money. This has been going on for dozens of days now, and we're at the police station to demand wages. These migrant workers are here to get their pay.
In Xi'an, over 10 migrant workers gathered at a construction site on April 28th to demand wages unpaid since February. One worker, furious, shared,
We've been working since the 10th of the Lunar New Year, and it's been delayed until now with no settlement. We don't even have money for living expenses.
Tensions escalated when some workers in Xi'an, on the morning of April 30th, climbed onto the construction site's roof to demand their wages. They said they had gone to the Xi'an city government days earlier for help, but to no avail. One woman even fainted during the protest and was hospitalized. In Inner Mongolia, on April 25th, construction workers also gathered on a rooftop to protest unpaid wages. These stories are not just about wages. They signal a society seething with discontent. Ji Fong, a leader of the 1989 student movement, told Radio Free Asia,
Business is tough, almost impossible to make money, and they're running out of funds. Some business owners even said they'd rather go to jail because they feel powerless.
These protests not only reflect economic hardship, but also a loss of trust in the system. Wu Ju, director of the Center for China Issues Studies, remarked,
Currently, global distrust of China is rising. The high tariffs promoted by President Trump have made China's economic situation even worse. There's been a massive outflow of capital, and foreign investment has also slowed down, resulting in a shortage of job opportunities.
The tariff war has exposed economic vulnerabilities that the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, can no longer conceal. But is this just the tip of the iceberg? Let's explore what's happening in cities once symbols of prosperity. When factories can't pay wages and workers go on strike, what happens next? A tsunami of unemployment is sweeping through Guangzhou and Shenzhen, economic hubs once the pride of China. Guangzhou and Shenzhen, two cities that were once the economic engines of China, are now shrouded in the darkness of unemployment. In just a few months, countless companies have halted production, and export orders have plummeted. According to Nomura, the U.S. accounted for 14.7% of China's total export value in 2024, and with new tariffs, China's GDP could shrink by 2.2%. The impact goes beyond numbers. It's in the heart-wrenching stories of millions of people. A blogger in Guangzhou shared,
Hundreds of machines have stopped working. There are no orders. All of them have stopped.
the stories of young people are particularly chilling. A university graduate, after over 10 years of education, lamented,
I'm going crazy. I went to college for nothing, studied for over 10 years for nothing. I've gained nothing except wasting my parents' hard-earned money in my youth. What can I do after graduating? What can I do after passing the doctoral and postgraduate exams? I can't even find a job. I used to think, like most people, that studying hard would give me a bright future. Now I have nothing, no money. I'm completely defeated. I really don't know where the future is. I'm really going crazy.
This lament is not unique. In Guangzhou, even state-owned enterprises and public institutions are struggling. A local resident revealed,
Many central enterprises, state-owned enterprises, and public institutions like a certain group haven't been able to pay wages for half a year, and layoffs are chaotic. Some want to leave, but fear they can't find jobs elsewhere. And if they stay, they won't get paid. Those used to the system can't adapt to the pace of private companies.
the scene in Guangzhou is heartbreaking. The glittering office towers of Zhujiang New Town are now empty or reduced to co-working spaces. Starbucks and McDonald's are packed with middle-aged people pretending to work, sitting all day with laptops to hide the fact that they've lost their jobs. In Shenzhen, heavily reliant on international trade, the situation is even worse. A female blogger shared her failed job search.
This is my 8th month of unemployment. I was actively unemployed at first. Now I'm passively unemployed. I've scoured job recruitment platforms and still can't find work. I don't even have an interview scheduled for tomorrow.
Ordinary citizens are also struggling to survive. A grocery store owner in Guangzhou shared their family's story.
We've been running a grocery store in Guangzhou for 7 years to support a family of 4. In 2025, we don't know how to make a living. We moved our store to a village in Baiyun district for 30,000 yuan 7 years ago when we took over. A few years ago, we never expected such a small store could support a family. Back then, my husband was still working, and I managed the store with our kids. Though we don't have a mortgage or car loan, maintaining the 80,000 yuan annual rent is the biggest challenge we face.
They used to earn 5,000 to 6,000 yuan daily, but now it's just over 2,000. With 80,000 yuan in annual rent, the family lives in anxiety. The husband even quit his job to help his wife run the store from 1 to 2 a.m. to 3 to 4 a.m. But life hasn't improved. Unemployment is not just an economic issue, it's a spiritual crisis. A 30-year-old, unemployed for 23 days, confided,
Once you experience not working, you really don't want to go back. But for someone like me, with no husband to rely on, I still have to depend on my own labor to survive. Luckily, I'm alone, so as long as I'm fed, no one else goes hungry, making it easier to get by. It's not that I don't want a job, but I'm struggling with what to do. I haven't decided. I feel that in today's environment, nothing is easy.
In another story, a graduate, 2 years out, shared,
It's shameful. I graduated 2 years ago, saved nothing, and am tens of thousands in debt. I was scammed by an agent, fired after 3 days, and lost money to a pyramid scheme. At my lowest, I ate expired rice balls and hid from the store clerk. Now I'm too numb to say the word miserable. Last month, my mom called to ask how I was. I stared at the ceiling and lied that I was fine. The truth is, I've been unemployed for 9 months. The worst part is, I don't even know what I want to do. I think about going home, but a voice in my head screams, "Hold on, prove yourself."
These stories reveal a generation losing hope. The unemployment rate in Guangdong, China's manufacturing hub, surged to 6.5% in early 2025, up from 4.2% the previous year. When an entire generation can't find a way forward, what does the future hold for China? When workers strike, young people lose jobs and companies like Apple, Amazon, and Samsung lose faith in China. The once iconic factories are left abandoned. Is this a sign of the complete collapse of Chinese manufacturing? China was once the promised land for global manufacturing, accounting for nearly 30% of the world's production at its peak in the early 2010s. But now, this manufacturing kingdom is crumbling. Meanwhile, the CCP is trying to control the crisis by tightening ideological and public opinion controls. But as Professor Sang Guang from Nanhua University, Taiwan, observed, deep-seated socioeconomic contradictions remain unresolved, and high-intensity control is bringing side effects. China is facing an unprecedented crisis. The tariff war has ignited social unrest, unemployment is spreading like wildfire, and tech giants are abandoning the world's factory. From desperate workers demanding wages, to young people losing faith in the future, to the desolate factories, once symbols of prosperity, all point to a China on the brink. Can the CCP weather this storm, or is this the beginning of a superpower's collapse? Share your thoughts in the comments. What do you think? Will China collapse under internal or external pressure? Or maybe both? And how long will it take before this happens? Don't forget to press like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to catch our next videos. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.